a hell of a lot on the list to get through this year, so I'm going to dive right in with my honorable mentions. I added this because I wanted to mention a few more movies that didn't quite make my top 5 for whatever reason. Alright, we're hitting these in turbo.
Creed.
This is a beautifully staged and built story around someone other than Rocky. As a result of focusing on Adonis Creed, we actually get closer to The Rock. This shouldn't have worked quite so magnetically, but damn is it a beautiful little film with slightly smaller aspirations than the rest of the list.
The Martian.
In any other year, this would have made the list. I loved it. It was perfect. I like that Ridley Scott is producing such killer sci-fi so late in his career. Come for the Damon, stay for the Stamen. That was an ineffective pun.
Spy.
Paul Feig hit a home run here, and it's strange to me that this got none of the acclaim that the other films that he did, like Bridesmaids and The Heat. This is just as good as Jason Statham is.
A pretty hot guy.
Oh God, what am I doing? This list has already gotten away from me.
Magic Mike XXL.
I had to put this on the list. It's just too nuts. Check this out. The first Magic Mike was a hard-nosed drama about the day-to-day struggles of a male stripper, and this said, we're not touching that. Originally, it was a perfect little Soderbergh drama that captured lightning in a bottle. It didn't need a sequel, so the filmmakers did what any reckless team of filmmakers would do. They made a 70s road trip bro comedy sequel that is closer to the Muppet movie than it is to the original film. And somehow, God rest them, it worked. Drum roll, here we go. Here's the Fave 5 of 2015.
Star Wars The Force Awakens.
There has been an awakening.
In my pants.
Because there was a bird in there. I incubated it. I got it in my pants for 13 days and then it cracked. And now I have a bird friend. And weren't we talking about Star Wars? My bird's name is Porterhouse. Because when he grows up, I hope he turns into an 18-ounce T-bone so I can eat him. I don't really know what has or hasn't been said about this movie. I tend to judge what does or does not make the list on a wildly varied set of criteria, like
Characters, writing, plot, cinematography, performance, editing, and how those elements coalesce into a cohesive whole.
in the case of Star Wars, with the exception of Mad Max Fury Road, simply no other film has succeeded in the wake of these criteria like The Force is Bacon. What is up with my fucking script? Why is there art of that? Who made the bacon? Wow. Okay, the largest hurdle this movie faced was twofold. One, work in old characters, specifically the main trio of characters from the Holy Trilogy, in a way that feels natural, feels earned, and somehow manages to, number two, not overshadow the new trio of characters from this new trilogy of films, Rey, Finn, and Poe. J.J. Abrams made a sequel more than 20 years after the original. I'm not talking about this yet. And somehow managed to capture all the original magic and against all odds create some new magic all its own. And possibly one part super lucky because you somehow landed Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac. Though, judging by JJ's track record with Alias, Lost, Star Trek The Reboot, Mission Impossible 3, 4, 5, including adding Simon Pegg to the fold in Mission Impossible 3, and somehow re-emerging from the flames of MI2 like a phoenix because that movie was bad enough to kill
any franchise.
John Woo, what the are you doing, man? Motorcycles are not people and they cannot fight. You hear me? Motorcycles cannot people fight. The casting in this soft Star Wars reboot is perfect and every single one of them delivers. I guess I'm just saying, JJ in almost any circumstance is exactly what you want leading off in the batter's box. He's probably the best in the business at building or rebuilding this kind of franchise. Just don't let him bat a second time, because Star Trek into Spockness slowly should we add her for that too? Just don't let him bat a second time, because Star Trek into Spockness showed us why he sucks at batting number 2, because he managed to somehow be the nightmare director you never want coming in and ruining all the hard work you did in the first place, like Michael Pressman did on TMAT2. Yeah, you thought I was letting you away, Pressman?
I'ma f*** you up.
We are so blessed and so lucky that JJ directed episode 7 and got the ship in the water. We are equally, if not more blessed, that JJ Abrams is not directing episode 8. And that's that real truth, shorties. Holla.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay, we're talking about it. This movie punched so far above its weight class. It managed to do the impossible and the supremely unlikely. Impossible in that it managed to bring back a franchise so dead the last movie in the franchise might as well have been...
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, yes, I did.
And supremely unlikely in that it was so good it managed to make obsolete the other 3 films in the franchise. Don't deny it. You nor I want to watch this when we could be watching This movie takes a flaming white gold shit in your eyeballs, and what is this metaphor? What am I doing? Shitting hot gold into somebody's eye socket? Michael, calm down. This isn't Milton Chatterbucket's preparatory academy for distinguished young gentle boys. There are rules!
Got him!
George Miller killed it. This is the biggest action movie shakeup since The Matrix.
I'll take action franchises that need a good reboot, not a bad one like Terminator for 400, please, Alex.
And that's our daily double.
Yo, chill for a second. This movie is an outstanding masterpiece. This is the best picture of the year, and I'm gonna call it now. It's gonna be the Oscar for Best Picture too. It's a flawless movie. It's a little kid's sandbox cursplosion movie mixed with a mastered hand's adeptness and construction. You can't fight that. It's gonna win. If you didn't like this movie,
You should get your f***ing head checked. Sicario.
Mamma mia, that is a spicy meatball! My xenophobic caricature of Italian people is saying in my head, and I reply, you know what, Giuseppe? You're right, man. Sicario is a spicy f***ing meatball. I said, god damn! There are 3 things this movie does so right that everything else can literally not exist and you won't even miss it from the movie. I'm not kidding. This movie has almost no plot, a terrifyingly low number of total shots in the movie. Off the top of my head, I think there's less than like 60 total shots in this movie. And that's all fine because they, number 1, cast Emily Blunt as the lead and she
Crushes this shit like a Pringle on the floor of Brian Setzer orchestra concert.
They, number 2, cast Benicio del Toro in a performance so understated in the creepiest way possible. It's the narrative equivalent of a weeping angel from Doctor Who because one moment he's just sitting there.
And he's like, how the f*** are you right there?
And they, number 3, and probably most importantly, brought on Hollywood legend Roger Deakins to be the cinematographer of this movie. He is probably the greatest cinematographer of all time. Certainly, and I think undeniably, top 3, and this is one of the best things he's ever done. This movie has an energy to it that's hard to describe. It eases you into it at a measured pace, very slowly, before it goes nuclear in some of the craziest, and my god, the loudest gunfights of all time. Beginning this movie by having characters in the audience be trepidatious of the muted pepper of gunfire in the distance, only to end the movie by hearing that same type of distant gunfire, turning away, shrugging, and accepting that that's what life is like here. That's not a spoiler, by the way. That literally has nothing to do with the movie except to bookend it in its ethos. I am Mexico. You cannot change me. Sicario is Spanish for hitman, and there's barely even a hitman in this movie. It's talking about the good guys, the cops, and that's pretty f***ing dark for a movie this well lit.
Ex Machina.
Hey, this movie made me question my every belief about human sexuality. If this movie doesn't keep you awake in the middle of the night questioning the greater existential ponderances of our storied and remarkable human history, you probably should have been watching the movie instead of staring at your
Stupid ass phone.
No, Jason, I am not DTF after a hot bite at Red Lobster. This is one of those films with like a too clever of a plot. I can't believe no one's done this movie before. It's awesome. One crazy inventor man, played by the man of the 2015 Hour, Oscar Isaac, needs another crazy reporter man, Dom Hall Gleason, to administer a Turing test on the latest generation of his AI, Ava, played by Alicia Vikander. Oh, and for the test to be accurate, the subject cannot be aware that a Turing test is being administered. What follows is one of the greatest bottle episode type of cat and mouse thrillers where any of the 3 people are both cat and mouse, making us, as the audience, constantly question what the sweet holy Moses is going to happen next at any given moment. This movie made me paranoid. It changed my life. Now I don't walk into any room I don't know how to walk out of. I boil all of my foods rated of contaminants and poisons. I poop in tiny bags because I'm awaiting the redonishing of Kathelka, the demon priestess of the Fire Lord Gibraltar, summoner of life gas, siphoner of that same... What? What'd you say? This is my sleeper pick for the year. It really came and went with critics speaking very highly of it, but I don't think it really came up on a lot of people's radar, which means you can discover it really easy on home video if you haven't already. My 5th favorite film, and like the other 4, is led by a female protagonist, is
Excuse me? Yeah, hi, I'm the internet. We haven't met because nobody watches your shitty dumb show for babies. Busted! Cause Mad Max ain't a girl, dumbass.
You know, you're right. He is not a girl. But he's also not the protagonist of this movie. Furiosa was.
What?
All of the agency in the main story belongs to her. She's the one calling the shots. Mad Max just happens to be along for the ride. I mean, he's cool and all, but he is clearly the Han Solo of this one.
Hi, what's up, internet again? If Furiosa was the main character, her name would be in the title. Pretty sure it's still called Mad Max. Boom, checkmate, atheists.
Yep, they should totally have put her name in the title, that her name was already in the title. It's right there, Fury. It's a shortening of the word Furiosa.
It's Furiosa, not Furiosa.
Anyway, Room. This movie kicked the ass out of my face. Really kind of hurt, actually. There's so many endearing, beautiful moments in this film, punctuated by the purest and entirely relentless fear of what will happen next. It's always 2 minutes from tragedy, every scene 2 minutes away from the unthinkable, never repeating, always surging the plot forward, and it's miraculous to see how far the filmmakers can go with it. It's pretty far. And for a movie called Room that tells a story pretty much exclusively from said room, the distances it goes to world build while simultaneously making said world building feel entirely natural to our characters is exquisitely executed.
I can't wait to talk about my boobry lesson
for a minute, because this was the best performance of any person in 2015, probably also 2014 and 2013 and the other ones. She commands this movie. I hate to say the performance is quote-unquote brave, because that's not an encompassing enough term. These are people that must live their lives in a tiny cage that they cannot leave. And to really find the voice of that character, Ma, in the film, I think Brie really taps into that animal inside that their situation creates. I'd say more than brave, her performance is ferocious. It's a fairly unique character because she is entirely defined by the fact that she's a mother, because there is literally nothing else good going on for her. Just conceptually, the film raises a lot of questions about the mental health of people forced to live their lives in these most unthinkable of circumstances. And I was elated to see how deep the film explored these questions, even coming at them from some really surprising directions. This is just one of those films you gotta watch. It's really sad, sure, but it's kind of also the most uplifting film you could watch this year. It's a duality, like poetry. It rhymes. It's a great movie for broken people because it very earnestly wants to show you how to find the pieces and glue yourself back together again. It's a beautiful thing. And that does it for 2015. Let me know in the comments what I got right, or maybe what you would have included on the list instead. Whoops, sorry, let me rephrase. Other than the Hateful Eight, what would you have included on the list? I'm just kidding, I didn't hate it. The cinematography was mind-bogglingly great. I just didn't super roll with what it was used to accomplish. This feels like he threw all of his movies in a blender and pressed mulch. Like Reservoir Dogs?
This is a heist movie.
Like Django?
This is a Western.
Like Kill Bill?
This is violent as
Like Jackie Brown, you don't exist. I promised you that you would get your new choices for the next episode of the show proper, so what should be the film we kick off 2016 with? Boop, boop, boop. Oh my. Well, this just got very interesting.